He was mocked for the way he walks. Minutes later, Lagos watched him stand on live TV.
Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, we explore the intersection of tradition and progress right here in Lagos.
And claim a name powerful enough to stop a CEO mid-sentence.
I said, who authorized this?
My name is Tobi Olonrewaju.
How does a teenager from Makoko end up on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange, holding a city's attention with one steady breath? Why did a man in a tailored suit try to keep him off the stage even as the red tally lights blinked live? And what secret sits inside the small brass talking drum keychain he never lets go, the one engraved with 2 letters, AO? This is not a pity story. It is a Lagos story. A story about optics and truth. About a boy who refuses to be a prop. A boardroom that mistakes silence for weakness. And a paper written years ago by a grandfather who saw this day coming. Tonight, you'll hear 3 sounds you won't forget. The hush of a studio when a lie runs out of air. The click of a crotch that doesn't apologize for being heard. And the gong that decides who owns the room. But to understand how the room flips, we start far from glass towers, on the wooden walkways of Makoko, at first light, when a boy named Tobi takes his first careful steps into a day that will change everything. African Karma Stories. Morning slides across the lagoon, silver on water, wood underfoot. Tobi tests the first plank with his forearm crotch. Weight forward, breath steady. Makoko wakes around him. Oars deep, pots rattle. Children run past with school bags bouncing. A phone camera clicks. Walk faster, celebrity, Dimiji laughs. Make it dramatic. People like pity. Tobi keeps moving. He has learned that balance starts in the mind, not the ankle. He hears Andrisi ahead, calling easy, my son, no rush, suru. He lifts his chin and crosses the last gap. On the street by the footbridge, a kiosk TV blares a business channel. A polished anchor smiles beside a graphic. Olanko CSR Day live at the Exchange. Kolo Olarewaju, in a dark suit, is promising scholarships, laptops, futures. A lapel pin glints on screen beside an old portrait of Chief Adewale Olarewaju. 2 letters sit on the frame, A and O. Tobi's thumb rolls across his brass talking drum keychain. Same letters, same shine. The city noise fades for a beat, then comes rushing back, down 4 horns, oil crackling. Andrisi reaches him, wipes a scuff from his palm and straightens his collar. You are not anybody's charity, she says softly. Go at your pace. He nods. Lagos is loud, but kindness can be quiet. He tucks the keychain, adjusts his bag, and sets off. Dimeji lingers at the back, whispering to friends. Wait till he trips, views. One laughs too loud. The laugh crumbles when Tobi chooses the narrower, steadier path and doesn't look back. At the community school, chalk dust floats in a slant of light. A poster reads, Inclusive access matters. The truth is simpler and harder. Buses that will not wait, steps with no rails, doors that stick. In this city, stairs, curbs, and crowds charge extra. The price is time, pain, and breath. Tobi takes attendance on a tablet he repaired from Computer Village scraps, then sketches workflow notes for his app with a blunt pencil. Aisha rushes in, breathless, hijab pinned against the morning breeze. Tobi, see this DM, she says, holding out her phone. Zainab from Lagos Business Network. They are filming a CSR talent feature tomorrow in Victoria Island. She saw a demo clip. Tobi doesn't smile. I know be pity, he says quietly. I want merit. Aisha grins. Then bring code, not tears. We control the story. Andrisi studies the message, the logo, the timing. The TV in the kiosk keeps talking in the background about lights, cameras, giving back. Tobi holds the keychain again. AO warms like a coin in the sun. Across the lagoon, glass towers catch the day. Inside them, a program prints the live roster. Closer, A boy chooses how to enter a room built to use him. We'll go, Aunt Risi says at last, but you speak for yourself. Tobi nods twice, setting a quiet rhythm. Outside, a generator coughs and a red bus door slams. Tomorrow, two worlds meet under bright lights, and someone learns who holds whose story. Rain thins to mist over Idi Araba as the hospital doors sigh open. Luth hums like a careful machine, nurses gliding, folders tucked like passports. Tobi settles on a bench, adjusts his forearm crutch, and scans the corridor names. He knows this routine. Patients first, answers second. Aunt Risi squeezes his shoulder. Suru, my son. He nods and watches a porter wheel past, steady as tide. Dr. Ifeanyi Ude's office smells of spirit and paper. He greets Tobi with a small smile, not pity. How body, he asks. Strong, Tobi says, but stares are wicked. The doctor chuckles. Stares are politics in concrete. He checks range, listens to breath, and explains simply. Post-polio is honest. When you push, it tells you immediately. Rest is medicine too. Movement too. We plan, we pace, we win. He prints an exercise card, adds, use the crutch proudly. It is a tool, not a verdict. Outside, the waiting hall breathes stories. A mother counts naira for transport back to Ikorodu. A student revises beneath a flickering tube light. In this city, health costs more than money. It costs hours, courage, and the will to return tomorrow. Tobi pockets the card and checks his phone. Aisha has sent a flyer. Yaba Hack Night, Community App Showcase this weekend. Let's pitch, her text reads. Code speaks louder than pity. A second message lands from an unknown number. Producer, Lagos Business Network. Hi, Tobi. Zainab showed us your demo. Can you join a short CSR talent profile in our Victoria Island studio tomorrow afternoon? We'll cover transport. Bring your project. Tobi stares at the screen, heart steady but awake. The same channel that filmed Cola's promises wants his story. He tastes the risk, cool and sharp. Aisha appears at the doorway, breathless from Okadaim rain. Say yes, but set terms. No slow-motion pity shots. You speak, you demo. Dr. Ifeanyi Ude hears them from his desk and steps out. Media can bless or bruise, he says gently. If you go, go with clarity. Your body is not debate. Your work is. He writes his number on a sticky note. If anyone questions your records, they can call me. They walk past the pharmacy. Shells glow with small victories. Doctor, Tobi asks, can I stand long on camera? Yes, Ude replies, if you choose your stance, not theirs. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. Breathe in 3. Pain is feedback, not failure. Aunt Risi listens, then lets out the breath she has been saving. We will go, but we will not beg for framing. On the ramp outside, traffic growls toward Ojuelaga. The sky brightens. Tobi holds the brass talking drum keychain, AO catching light like a signpost. Somewhere across the bridge, a studio clocks tomorrow's call time. He types his reply, I'll come. I speak for myself. I'll demo live. He pockets the phone and looks toward the island. Between hospital and headline lies a thin line. Who tells the story first? Tomorrow decides who gets to define him publicly.
Evening settles over Yaba with the buzz of laptops and the hum of a small generator. Inside a co-working hall lined with whiteboards, Tobi and Aisha wait behind a plywood podium. The MC points, the screen wakes, and their demo loads. Aisha nods. Tobi breathes, plants his crutch, and begins. Good evening. Our project maps safe paths after dark. It lets you flag hazards, request an escort, and ping nearby volunteers. No pity, just practical tools. He taps the screen. A map blooms with gentle color, showing footbridges, lit streets, and recent alerts. Aisha adds, it runs on low data, works offline for a while, then syncs when network returns. If you can send a text, you can use it. A murmur rolls through the room. Students shift forward. A man in a faded university tee lifts a hand. What if power drops? Tobi answers. The app saves battery. It caches. If the lights go, your last route still shows. The man smiles. Smart. Applause blooms and fades like Lagos rain. During the Q&A, an older mentor steps closer, squints at Tobi's name tag, and goes still. Olan Rajau? He says. I used to manage a scholarship directory for Chief Adiwale's foundation. Your mother's surname was on our list long ago. He speaks gently, with the memory's weight. The chief stamped his initials on every certificate, A and O. He loved symbols, said they help people remember what matters. Tobi's thumb touches his brass keychain, and the letters catch the light. Zainab stands near a pillar, press badge turned inward to avoid changing the room. She watches the demo replay on a tablet, listens to Tobi's steady voice, and notices the tiny drum charm resting near his pocket. 2 letters curve on its surface, the same design she once saw on an archival clip of the chief blessing a new school. A small click happens somewhere inside her. File drawers open and align. The MC calls a break. People drift toward poof poof and soda. Zainab steps in lightly. Tobi, thank you for the clarity. Could you bring this to our studio tomorrow? We want a short feature on tools that make the city fairer. Aisha glances at Tobi, then answers, we can, if he speaks for himself, and if you show the app in use. Zainab nods. Agreed. Keep it honest, keep it useful. Outside, evening traffic collects at Herbert McCalley Way. KK engines whine, a siren wails, neon blinks across wet asphalt. Tobi prints a small sticker with a QR code and hands it to Zainab. Scan for the beta. She scans, waits, smiles. It loads fast, she says. He shrugs. People in this city do not like waiting. Across the road, a billboard glows with Olanco's logo. 2 letters. 2 worlds. Tomorrow, a studio light will test which one is true. Back inside, the MC resets the projector. The crowd leans in. Somewhere in the noise, a clock begins counting down to a different kind of introduction.
Late afternoon wind rides the lagoon as a slim boat noses toward Makoko. Barrister Funke Ogunleye steps off the plank with a brown leather case that has seen many court corridors. She pauses, takes in the stilt houses and the bright clothes drying on lines, then walks the narrow walkway to Aunt Reese's door. Her knock is light, respectful. Ekuile, she says. Good afternoon. I'm here to speak about family and paper. Inside, the room smells of soap and chalk. A kettle hums. Tobi's school notes lie stacked beside a repaired tablet. Funke sets her case down and opens it with quiet care. My name is Funke. I was Chief Adewale Olara Ajo's solicitor. Before he passed, he placed his holdings into a family trust. It is simple on purpose, to stop cousins from tearing a company to pieces. She lifts one document. This is a certified copy of the deed. It names a guardian if his first grandchild is under 21. It said the guardian holds the controlling vote until the child is of age. No shares can be sold or pledged without that signature. Aunt Risi listens, backstreet, hands clasped. Why yours? Funke keeps her eyes gentle. Because I have records with a name your sister used at Olanco. Because I have a faded photo of the chief holding a newborn at a naming ceremony. Because the scholarship spreadsheets show your family line. And because Lagos remembers more than it admits. She pulls out a photo in a plastic sleeve. A smiling old man, a sleeping baby, a small shadow of a triangle drum engraved with 2 letters, A and O. Tobi steps in quietly, mud on his shoes, breath still catching from the walk. He sees the photo, then the kiss, then the lawyer's face. Funke nods to him as if she has always known he would enter at this moment. "Good afternoon, Tobi." He answers, "Good afternoon, Ma." His hand finds the brass talking drum keychain on his belt loop. The same letters, the same curve of metal. Funke notices. "That charm," she says. "Where did you get it?" "My mother's lanyard. She kept it from the office." Funke lays out the path in simple steps. "We will not rush. We gather proof, your birth certificate, your mother's staff ID, payroll number, letters, 2 affidavits from someone who witnessed the naming and the midwife who signed the olukun. DNA is an option, but the trust follows your mother's line. Once we file, I will ask the court for an interim order to preserve control until recognition is complete. No grand speeches, just protection." She does not raise her voice to warn, she lowers it. "This will anger Kola. He loves cameras, he loves noise, but courts listen to paper. If we move carefully, we can keep you safe while the law does its work." She closes the photo, then speaks to Aunt Risi the way one woman speaks to another who has carried too much. "You have shielded him a long time. I am asking you to let the shield change shape." Aunt Risi pours tea, hands steady, eyes wet. "He is not anybody's show. If the world must know, he must speak, not be spoken for." Funke nods. "Agreed. Your terms, no pity setups, straight facts." Outside, a boat engine coughs then steadies. In this city, even sound lends discipline. Tobi studies the trust seal. The wax impression is clean, unbroken. Laws can be cold, but they can also be shelter. He looks from the seal to the window where the lagoon blurs into the hint of distant glass. "If we do this, what changes first?" Funke answers, nothing loud. A clerk stamps a paper. A bank freezes a temptation. A man in a suit checks his phone and cannot move money he thought was his. Then, when you are ready, you let the city see. A phone buzzes on the table. An unknown number. A single line. He plans a live segment tomorrow. She reads it, then meets their eyes. Time is shorter than we hoped. We can still choose method over noise, but if he puts you on a stage as a prop, we will bring truth to the same stage. The kettle clicks off. The room holds its breath. Outside, the water keeps its slow, patient rhythm, as if counting down to a door that is about to open.
Victoria Island wears its glass like armor. Inside a studio at Echo, the air is cold enough to tame sweat. Lighting rigs hum, a teleprompter scrolls, a run sheet reads CSR talent feature, then NGX closing gong, guest youth. Kola Alanrewaju rehearses a smile in the monitor, flawless and distant, a man who owns cameras. "We celebrate grit from every corner of Lagos," he tells the lens. Off to the side, a makeup artist dusts away the shine that ambition leaves behind. Tobi and Aisha arrive at the side entrance with a backpack, a phone mount, and a quiet agreement. Show the product, refuse pity. A velvet rope stops them. A guard frowns at the crutch. "Equipment only," he says. Dimeji leans against the light case. Tie loose. "Relax, he's content," he snickers. "PR's hungry." Tobi sets his jaw. He has learned not to waste breath on people who perform cruelty like a sport. Zainab steps in quick, badge out. "He's talent. He's on my rundown," she says, voice even. "Clear him." Ismaila Balagoon, head of Olanco Security, appears with a clipboard, reads the name, then looks at the boy. Not past him. "Open," he tells the guard, "and mind the cable on the floor." It is a tiny mercy, but in rooms like this, tiny mercies turn the wheel. On stage, Kola keeps the sunshine tone. Off stage, his hand signal is crisp. No close-ups of the crutch. Waist up, shoot him heroic. Zainab doesn't blink. "We're showcasing a live demo. We'll shoot his hands, the screen, and the path. The director nods because competence rises when it's named. Aisha checks the phone, loads a test route, and tucks a small blue ribbon around the mount. Courage, pocket-sized. Demeji drifts close. "Try not to wobble, superstar," he murmurs. Tobi answers without heat. "Try not to confuse kindness with weakness." Ao glints on his brass talking drum keychain. A camera op notices the letters, frowns as if trying to place a memory, then is called to frame 3. "Rehearsal," Zainab calls. 30 seconds. Tobi plants, breathes, and lifts the phone. This tool maps safer routes and requests help fast. No pity, just options. Aisha taps. A hazard pin appears. A volunteer node pings back. The producer's eyebrows rise. That sync is smooth, even under studio Wi-Fi. Kola brides to a mark and reads, "From Makoko to Momentum, our city rises together." It sounds warm until the mic goes cold and he adds, "Lose the shot of the crutch. We don't need to depress viewers." He is not unkind. He is careful about optics in a way that edits human beings into slogans. Zainab exchanges a look with the graphics tech. "Prep the overlay of the app screen," she whispers. "If anyone drags, we cut to truth." The rehearsal wraps. A PR handler whispers to Colin near the backtop wall, "Sir, tomorrow's segment moves to NGX after the studio bit. Great optics. The boy rings the gong with you." Tobi hears the phrase from 10 feet away. Boy rings the gong and understands the shape of the stage they are building. He meets Aisha's eyes. She nods once. He closes his palm over Ao and feels the letters cool and solid. Outside, Usumba Mabadiwe traffic snakes past wet concrete. Inside, a red telly light blinks in idle, waiting for a story to pick a side. Tomorrow, the gong will sound louder than applause, and a city will learn which pictures cannot be cropped.
Night settles on Broad Street like a ledger closing. In Olanko's glass tower, CFO Femi Bankole stays after hours, jacket on the chair, sleeves rolled. The dashboard is tidy until one column flickers. Payments to 3 new vendors, same amounts, same day, split just below approval limits. The descriptors sound harmless: site audit, coordination, but the bank trails read like shortcuts. He runs a cross-check through internal tools and sees the pattern repeat across months. A compliance ping arrives from Adaeze downstairs. "Sir, these vendors opened accounts within days of each other. Their contact phones share one BVN." Femi rubs his eyes. In Nigeria, a bank verification number is a fingerprint for money. When different companies share one BVN, it means one hand is moving many masks. He pulls the files, clicks open the KYC pages, and feels a small drop in his stomach. His inbox blinks again, this time from an address he does not recognize. Subject line: "Protect the grandchild." The body is short. Transfers are ramping before tomorrow's TV. Preserve assets now. Attached are 2 images: a CAC registry printout naming a family trust, and a scanned clause highlighted in yellow. Until the first grandchild is recognized, control cannot be assigned elsewhere. He stares at the AO initials on the seal and hears the air conditioner working harder. "Should we file a suspicious transaction report?" Femi answers quietly, "Yes," and lock authorizations above a threshold until legal confirms. He forwards the email to the company secretary, then hesitates. He has served Kola for 8 years, through storms and surges. Loyalty is easy when the numbers are clean. It is harder when the numbers whisper. Across town, Barrister Funke slips into a quiet courtroom at TBS as rain ticks on the windows. She files an urgent motion with a simple request: protect the trust from sudden movement until identity is clarified. The judge reads, asks 2 precise questions, and signs an interim order. No sale, no pledge, no transfer without the guardian's consent. The court clerk stamps copies. A bailiff leaves with envelopes for 2 banks and the registrar.
On the island, Ismaila's phone buzzes with the security brief. Expect service tonight. Acknowledge receipt. In the studio corridor, Kolo walked his lines with a producer, voice smooth, hands open. He is made for cameras, for glass tuned to his face. His assistant hustles behind, silencing minor fires. At 8:42 p.m., Femi gets the return call from a bank manager. "We have been served," the voice says. "Accounts related to the family trust are flagged. Any attempt to move them will bounce." Femi thanks him, ends the call, and looks at the skyline. When rules speak, money listens. Down the hall, Demeji posts a behind-the-scenes clip with a caption about tomorrow's miracle. Online hearts stack up like chips. Kola's phone lights. One line. Court order served. More at NDX. He reads it twice, then smiles at the producer and says, "Let's rehearse that gong again." Inside the smile, something stutters.
Night folds over Makoko like a shawl. In the small room, a kerosene lamp paints warm circles on the table. Tobi sits with his crutch leaned against the wall. Aunt Risi ladles stew into 3 bowls. Aisha scrolls through notes, eyes quick. The brass talking drum keychain rests between spoons, its letters catching firelight. Barrister Funke arrives with damp edges on her scarf and a folder sealed with clips. Zainab joins by video on Aisha's phone, face framed by the soft glow of a newsroom desk. They greet one another the way Lagos people do, short, sincere, straight to business. "We must choose method, not noise," Funke begins. "The court has granted an interim order to preserve the trust. Next, I file temporary guardianship naming Andrisi as custodian of Tobi's interests, with me as counsel. That gives us standing if anyone challenges access or tries to move assets." Andrisi keeps her voice low. "What does publicity take from him?" Zainab answers gently, "If we do it sloppy, dignity. If we do it right, nothing he isn't ready to give." We propose a controlled live segment. He demos the app. He says his name once. If Kola denies, I cut to documents on screen. No sad music, no slow motion. Tobi listens, spoon idle. "I don't want pity," he says. "I want truth. If I speak, it will be short." Funke nods. 20 seconds is enough to plant a flag. She slides a 1-page brief across the table. Security. Ismaila will receive and acknowledge the order. He will ensure you are not blocked at the door. We'll have 2 independent camera angles rolling for record. If anyone tampers, we still have a clean chain. Aisha adds, "We'll preload the demo, offline mode, low data. If the studio Wi-Fi dips, it still runs." Zainab smiles, good. "And I'll push a lower third with the clause summary in simple words. Viewers understand more than producers think." "Cost?" Andrisi asks. "Eyes," Zainab says, "but also protection. The island behaves when it knows the mainland is watching." Funke softens. "Emma Binu, I know you have carried him. This step is not performance, it is proof." Andrisi exhales. "Then let him speak, and let paper speak with him." Tobi looks at the keychain, then at the door. "Terms," he says. "No hand on my shoulder on stage. No hush voice. I will stand if I choose. I will sit if I need. The app gets more airtime than my leg." Zainab raises a finger. Agreed. Funke writes, "Consent, not choreography," and underlines it twice. A message pings on Zainab's screen. NGX confirms slot 9:58 to 10:02, live. Another message follows from an unlisted number. Change of plan. Boy rings gong beside chairman. The room cools by a few degrees. Funke closes the folder. Then we bring the truth to the gong. Outside, water taps the stilts like a metronome. Inside, 4 people hold a plan the way you hold a fragile lamp in wind. Tobi nods once. "I will go," he says. "I will speak for myself."
Across the lagoon, the city answers with distant sirens and a camera light warming for morning. Morning practice begins in a quiet corner of LUTH's rehab wing. The mirrors are honest, the floor is forgiving. Tobi plants his crutch, shifts weight, and steps. The step is small, deliberate, and loud enough to be heard in his chest. He takes another. On the third, his ankle trembles. He goes down to one knee, hand on the mat, breath caught halfway. Pause, Dr. Uday says, calm as a metronome. Not punishment, just information. 3 long breaths, then we try again. Tobi nods, fills his lungs, and lets the moment shrink until it is not a mountain, just a task. He rises with care. Strength, the doctor adds, is consistency, not spectacle. Lagos already has too much spectacle. Aisha stands by the bar with tape and a small blue ribbon. She grins. For courage, she says, wrapping it round the crutch handle. Blue like the lagoon, we carry our own sky. Tobi laughs, a short, bright sound in a hallway that knows both tears and triumph. He tests the grip. It feels like a promise. They run micro-reps. 5 steps, rest. Turn, 5 steps back, rest. No hurry, Uday says. Eagle B. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Tobi finds a rhythm that belongs to muscle memory and choice, not fear. The fall becomes a footnote, proof that falling is part of learning to stand. Later, in a small conference room, Aisha sets up a phone as a teleprompter. 20 seconds, she says. Say it like you mean it, then stop, before someone edits you into a slogan. Tobi nods, looks straight into the camera, and speaks. My name is Tobiloba Olanrawaju. I built a tool for safer roads, not for pity. If you need help, you can ask. If you can help, you can answer. That is the Lagos I want. Aisha claps once. Perfect. Again. They rehearse posture 2. Sit, stand, rest, stand. Where will the feet go? Where will the crutch anchor? Choose your stance, Uday reminds him. Never let the room choose it for you. Tobi tests the position that lets his knee breathe and his shoulders stay square. The mirror agrees. Evening pours gold through the high windows. The city thickens outside. Engines warm. The day bends toward island traffic. Tobi pockets the exercise card and the words he just practiced. He touches the brass talking drum keychain. AO lights up like a tiny beacon. Night settles on the Lekki Ikoyi Bridge in a necklace of white. From the shore, the cables look like strings tuning a giant harp. Tobi and Aisha stand by the water's edge, listening to tires sing over concrete, watching boats drift under the span. Tomorrow, Aisha whispers. Live. Tobi nods. I will speak for myself, he says, steady as the tide. Across the lagoon, a red tally light blinks in an empty studio, warming up to test which voices Lagos will hear and which it will try to mute. Somewhere, a plan adjusts, and a refusal to shrink hardens quietly. The green room door hits the stop with a hard clap. Air conditioning hums, makeup lamps buzz, a call sheet curls on the wall. NGX closing gong, live in 10. Tobi sits straight on a low chair, crutch angled beside him, Aisha checking the demo phone. Zainab stands near the vanity, eyes calm, camera app open but low. The room smells of powder and coffee. Outside, a floor manager counts down corridors in a headset voice only half the room can hear. Kola enters like a front-page headline. Rain dots his shoulders. His tie is perfect. His smile is missing. Who let this stunt into my green room, he says. This is not a circus. He points at the crutch as if it offends the paint. Demiji trails him, eager for the echo. Oga, we warned them, he adds, enjoying the attention. The words flattened against the mirror and hang there. Ismaila Balagon arrives from the corridor, clipboard under one arm, brown envelope under the other. Sir, he says evenly, service was completed last night. Interim order. We acknowledged. He opens the envelope and shows a stamped page. The blue seal catches the bulb light. We are to allow the boy and his guardian unimpeded access for the segment. No interference. Kola doesn't look down. He looks through people. Do you know who you're addressing, Ismaila? His voice is soft and dangerous. I am protecting the company from embarrassment. The security chief does not raise his tone. With respect, sir, I am protecting you from contempt. Court paper, not court paper. Zainab lifts her phone a fraction. The red recording dot wakes. No speech, no flourish, just a record that remembers. 2 minutes to stand by, the floor manager calls from the hall. The clock on the wall ticks louder than it should. Kola turns to Tobi as if the others are furniture. Son, you will thank me later. This camera will not pity you twice. Go home. The room waits to hear shame in the boy's answer. It doesn't get it. Tobi meets his eyes. His voice is steady, Lagos soft. I am not your stunt. You can choreograph a shot, but you cannot edit a name. Mine stands, with or without your lens. Something small shifts. A wardrobe assistant glances up from a steamer. A sound tech stops coiling a cable. Demiji tries a last jab. Try not to wobble when you talk. It lands badly this time. The silence does not agree with him. He looks at his shoes until they blur. Kola steps closer. You think a trinket and a rumor make you important? Tobi's thumb grazes the brass talking drum keychain. The letters A and O shine like a kept promise. This is not a rumor. The city will see paper. If you fear truth, it is because truth knows you. Ismaila moves between them, not aggressive, just present. Time, he says to no one in particular. Let him pass. Zainab slides to the side, clearing a path with her body the way people do when they decide who gets dignity in a narrow space. She speaks low. If you block him, that becomes the story. If you let him speak, the work speaks first. Aisha tucks the ribbon tighter on the crutch handle. Blue for courage, she whispers. Tobi stands, tests his stance, and breathes. The room notices the quiet way strength can arrive. It is not loud. It is decided. Kola's jaw tightens. This will not air. He says a promise to himself more than a threat. In the corridor, a camera awakes on its tripod. The tally light blinks once, twice, then holds. Somewhere beyond the wall, the floor manager hits the talkback and says the word that changes rooms. Stand by. We're taking it live. Control glows blue in the VI studio, a wall of screens stacked like windows into tomorrow. Zainab walks the team through the last mile, voice steady, palms open. We keep this simple. Segment 1, CSR intro. Segment 2, Tobi's 20 seconds and live demo. If chairman denies anything, we hit verification, graphics, document camera, and the server log still. The technical director points to buttons wrapped in colored tape. Green is live, yellow is proof. Funke arrives with a thick envelope and a small fireproof pouch. She lays the contents out on felt like instruments. Notarized trust deed, CAC printouts with the company's RC number, the guardianship order naming Risi as custodian, and yesterday's injunction. Femi slips in quietly with a silver flash drive. Server access log, he says. Admin logins, timestamps, IPs. Chain of custody signed. He doesn't meet the camera. Numbers people rarely do. We need 3 angles of proof. Document camera for seals, full screen graphic with the simple clause summary, and a 1-minute still of the server log header if he keeps talking. The graphics operator types the lower thirds: family trust, clause, first grandchild's recognition required. The font is clean, not dramatic. People believe what they can read in seconds. The NGX floor manager calls in on speaker. We're ready for the feed after the CSR bit. The big screen can take your signal if you cue it. Zainab nods. If he challenges on stage, we throw the proof to the hall. No shouting, just air and light. The plan feels like a bridge. Short, strong, no wasted steel. Aunt Reese stands behind Tobi, hands on her shawl, not on his shoulders. If he speaks, let it be on his own terms. Tobi answers with a small smile. I will keep it short and true. Aisha adjusts the ribbon on the crutch and checks the offline demo one last time. If Wi-Fi sleeps, the app won't, she says. Dr. Ude texts a single line, breathe in 3. Funke seals duplicate sets of documents in 2 plain envelopes. One goes to Zainab's bag, one to the OB van. If anyone pulls a plug, we still publish after, she says. Femi signs the receipt slip, then presses the flash drive into Funke's palm as if passing a match that lights only once. Somewhere rain tickles the glass and stops. Zainab drafts a short message and reads it aloud. If you deny, evidence goes on the big screen. She shows it to Funke, then to Tobi. He nods. Consent matters even when proof is righteous. She sends it to Cola's private work number. The read receipt lands almost at once. The reply arrives 4 breaths later. Try me. The room holds still. On the far wall, a screen shows the NGX hall. Empty now, polished, expectant. In 10 minutes, it will be noise and eyes. In 10 minutes, a city will learn whether power can still look straight into a lens and call a fact a lie. The Nigerian Exchange Hall is a bowl of light. Traders ring the balcony, guests fill the floor, and cameras perch like patient birds. The brass gong waits at center stage beside a tall stand of microphones. On the wall of screens, the studio feed locks in. A floor manager raises 2 fingers. The red tally light hardens. We are live, someone whispers, and the room pulls shoulders back as if a tailor pinched the moment to fit. Cola steps to the mic with a smile polished on both sides. Lagos, he says, voice smooth as marble. Today we honor grit. One city, one future. From Makoko to the markets, we rise together. Applause drifts up like steam. He gestures. A young innovator joins us. Tobi rolls forward, plants his crutch, and stands. The click is small but carries. For a heartbeat, the floor falls quiet enough to hear a sleeve brush a lapel. Tobi keeps his promise to himself. My name is Tobiloba Olenraju, he says. I built a tool for safer routes. No pity, just options. If you need help, ask. If you can help, answer. That is the Lagos I want. The words are simple, hard to argue with. Cola laughs lightly, tries to steer. Wonderful spirit. And unrelated to certain rumors online, he pivots. Zainab meets the director's eye. Proof, she says softly. The document camera wakes. On the big screen, paper replaces spin. A trust deed under glass. A wax seal with AO pressed clean. A line in crisp text. Until the first grandchild is recognized, control cannot be assigned elsewhere. A second graphic follows. CAC registry excerpt. RC number clear. Clause summary in plain language. The hall reads. Breaths change. Cola smiles thinner. Anyone can print a page, he says. Femi, pale but steady, nods to the tech. A still of server logs fills the screen. Admin logins, timestamps, IP blocks. The numbers tell their blunt story. Attempts to move restricted assets last night. Denied. Another camera finds Ismaila at stage left. He lifts a stamped order and reads, voice even. By interim order of the High Court, no sale, no pledge, no transfer without the guardian's consent. Service completed. The crowd murmurs, not frenzy, recognition. In rooms like this, truth does not shout, it accumulates. Close to the dais, a trader notices the brass keychain at Tobi's belt. A.O. on the tiny drum catches a light and throws it back. The camera tightens. The monogram matches the seal on screen. Kola reaches for words that won't steady. He says, "This is a misunderstanding." He says, sweat beading where powder cannot help. "We will address it privately." Zainab signals audio down, proof up. The clause returns to the giant screen. Phones rise like a field of small moons. The floor manager hands Tobi the mallet. "Your Honor, please," he says without theater. Tobi glances at Aunt Rissy. She nods without touching him. He lifts, breathes in 3, and strikes. The note is deep, old, and exact. For a long second, the room holds the sound like a bowl holds water. When it fades, power has moved to where the facts live. Kola steps back, the crowd steps forward, and the city, watching in living rooms and in traffic, leans in as the screen cuts to black.
Morning breaks clear over the lagoon. Third mainland hums. Buses thread the bridge like beads on a string. Headlines move faster than the traffic they describe. Overnight, Ulenko's board issues a 2-paragraph statement, community programs restored immediately, an independent audit engaged, and the chairman stepping aside pending review. They do not say his name on television, but Lagos can read between the lines. Governance, not dynasty, the statement ends. The words are dry, the effect is not. Phones buzz with something that feels like relief. In Makoko, a teacher tapes a new flyer to the chalkboard. A.O. Scholars Fund, STEM bursaries from mainland schools. The letters match a small brass keychain at a boy's belt. Tobi stands in the doorway, unsure of the attention, sure of the work. Aisha grins like sunrise. "Your city is loading, Abeg," she says. He laughs, still learning to accept good news without bracing for the slap that often follows. Outside, boats knock gently against wood, as if applauding without hands. At Luth, Dr. Uday meets them by the rehab round. "We celebrate by practicing the boring parts," he says. 5 steps, pause, breathe. Tobi nods, sets the crutch aside, and tests 2 careful steps unaided. The room holds its air. He takes a 3rd, then a 4th, then reaches for the handle with calm honesty. Tools are not defeat, Uday reminds him. Strength is choosing what keeps you moving. Aunt Risi exhales a long-held tide. Aisha claps softly, the blue ribbon flickering like a flag after rain. On Victoria Island, a press line hums in front of glass doors. Sanap faces a camera on quiet pavement and speaks with the measured tone Lagos trusts when chaos is nearby. "This is not a fairy tale," she says. "It is a record. Courts speak through orders, companies answer through reforms, communities measure both. Today, we measure." Her producer counts her out. 3, 2, 1. Clear. A boy tugs his mother's sleeve and whispers, "I know his name now." She squeezes his hand. "Say it right," she answers. By afternoon, the company website lists 3 steps in plain text. 1. The AO Scholars Fund, administered by independent trustees with public reporting dates. 2. A reinstated clinic partnership for mobility aids and fittings. 3. A whistleblower channel run by an external firm. Femi signs the handover memo and looks out across Marina, feeling something he has not felt at work in years: air without weight. Numbers can lie when people dress them. They tell the truth again when light returns.
Barrister Funke reaches chambers as rain begins, light as dust. An envelope waits on her desk without a sender. Inside, a small silver flash drive and a single line written in tight handwriting. Truth never ends. It only waits for its next witness. She turns the drive over. No logo, no hint, just weight and possibility. She locks it away for now. Some doors you open only when the room is ready to listen. Evening settles soft on the lagoon. At home, Tobi scrolls past headlines and finds something better. Messages from students in Surulere, Mushin, Aja. Links to potholes they flagged, routes they tested, neighbors they walked home. He smiles, not because cameras watched him, but because strangers used his work and said they would keep using it tomorrow. The brass keychain warms in his palm. A.O. 2 letters that started as a memory and turned into a map. From the balcony, Lagos glows with the stubborn kindness of a city that refuses to be reduced to optics. We continue, Aisha says. He nods. We continue. And if you are watching from this city or far beyond, stay with us. Subscribe, share the story, and come back for what that silver drive will reveal. Morning is patient. Truth is too.